Welcome to Microgen DBClarity Developer. When you first open DBClarity Developer, you'll notice that you have a workspace with a number of predefined projects. Each of these projects is designed to allow you to get to know the product a little more. When you double-click on a project, it opens in a new folder, and you'll notice that you have the workspace and the project folder available to you. Notice too that the objects that we provided you with, predefined objects, are available in different folders, and you may choose to see them either in the layout that is presented or in what we call the dictionary layout, where we've broken those down into data schemas, external data formats, and so on. If I look at the data schema, I can expand it and see the various data schemas defined, and double-click on any of them to open up and see the table definitions and the relationship that exist between those table definitions. We've also provided you with a number of rules, some more complicated than others, that you can double-click on to invoke and see the visual representation of those rules. You can either see the rule in this format, which is the way we can create those rules, or as the SQL statement. Now if we look at the rule in its form, here we can't execute that rule until we're connected to a database and to a particular schema. So before I can execute the queries or run any of these PL SQL procedures, I need to be able to connect to a database, and in this case, an Oracle database. So I'll create myself a new connection. I'm going to call it Oracle, specifically for the Oracle database. And in my case, the server name is Oracle. I can now connect to a particular schema. I have a schema called Demo, and Demo has no tables or any other objects defined yet. So there's my demo schema with no objects defined at this point. Now I can take my project and drag it down onto the demo user in order to deploy it to the database, and I can also do that within the project itself. So I'm returning to my project, and when I right-click on the project itself, I can deploy the project to the default database destination. If you want to know what the default database destination is, we can look at the settings, and mine has remembered that I've used Oracle Database Server before and the schema demo before. I can also look at the advanced settings where I've defined that when I deploy objects to the database, I want the tables and the sequences and the database scripts that I have in the project to be executed. Let's look at the database script that we have provided. There is a file called DataTrader that you can run in a SQL tool, or while we're deploying, it will use this file to populate those tables with the data required. So I'll deploy my project to the default database destination. It'll create the scripts, create the tables, the objects, and put the data into those tables. So I should now be able to connect to that database and to that schema and execute my query. Now in this particular query, I'm going to select information from a data source called product. I'm going to filter the information based on the unit price and the given price when I populate with a parameter of a given price. So let's execute that query. I can specify that the given price is, for example, 100. My query shows me the select statement, and the data output is provided below. You can now go through the other examples that we have provided and review each of those and the SQL that is associated with them. Not only do we provide SQL rules or queries, we also provide SQL procedures, and you can look at the query that is associated with that and the create statements that are available for those two. In this brief getting started demonstration, we have shown you how you can connect to a database and how you can deploy your database scripts and objects to that database and play with some of the queries that we have provided.